might feel like your life is a mess. Maybe you're facing challenges you never saw coming. It feels like you're drowning in problems. But let me remind you, God's plan for your life isn't limited by your current situation. You're looking at what's in front of you, but God sees the whole picture. He doesn't just see where you are, He sees where He's taking you. You have to understand that your circumstances are temporary. They're like a snapshot, but God is painting a masterpiece. Don't let this one moment of difficulty define your entire journey. Remember, the same God who created the universe created you. And if He can create galaxies, He can certainly hammer your problems. It's easy to let your circumstances dictate your mindset. You start to believe the lie that you're stuck, that this is as good as it gets. But that's not true. God's plan is bigger than what you're facing right now. He's working behind the scenes, orchestrating things you can't even imagine. Trust that He's got it all under control. Don't compare your journey to someone else. Just because it looks like someone else is thriving while you're struggling doesn't mean God has forgotten about you. When others judge you, keep working hard. While they make fun of you, put in even more effort. When they're sleeping, you should be studying. When they talk badly about you, keep on working. In a few years, they'll compare their lives to yours and realize you're miles ahead. Focus on yourself, because there's always going to be noise and people trying to bring you down. 2025, it's time to stop imagining and start doing. It's time to take back your time, your energy, and your power. When you stop being too nice, something incredible happens. You start to attract people who respect you. People who see your worth, not just for what you can do for them, but for who you are. And those who are only in your life to take advantage of your niceness, they'll start to fade away. It might hurt at first, but trust me, it's a blessing. Let them go. Let them find someone else to exploit. You're not here to be used, you're here to live. And let's talk about living for a moment. Because being too nice isn't just about what you do for others, it's about what you don't do for yourself. How many opportunities have you missed because you were too busy helping someone else? How many times have you put your dreams on hold because you didn't want to upset anyone? How many times have you silenced your voice because you didn't want to cause waves? In 2025, it's time to stop holding back. It's time to speak up, to stand tall, to claim the life you deserve. But don't expect it to be easy. When you start setting boundaries, some people won't like it. They'll call you selfish, ungrateful, maybe even mean. That's okay. Let them talk. Their words have no power unless you give them power. And here's the thing. The people who truly care about you, they'll respect your boundaries. They'll understand that you're not saying no to them, you're saying a habit of saying yes when you mean no, or bending so much you're about to break. That's when nice stops being noble and starts becoming dangerous. In 25, I need you to recognize this truth. Being too nice can rob you of your power. It can drain your soul, steal your time, and leave you in the shadows while others bask in the light of your efforts. You see, there's a difference between being kind and being a pushover. Kindness has boundaries, it knows its worth. Niceness without limits. That's a green light for people to walk all over you. People are quick to take advantage of what's freely given, especially when it's not accompanied by strength. In 2025, your task is to become a person who knows when to give and when to hold back. Someone who can say, I'll help you, but I won't lose myself in the process. That's not being selfish, that's being smart. Life will test you. There will be friends who come to you only when they need something. Family members who assume your time belongs to them. Colleagues who expect you to pick up their slack without a second thought. And you know what happens if you keep saying yes? You teach them that your boundaries don't matter. You teach them that your needs, your dreams, your well-being are secondary to theirs. And when you do that, you don't just lose their respect, you lose respect for yourself. So, here's the hard truth: people don't value what they don't work for. If you give and get without asking anything in return, you're not doing them a favor, you're doing them a disservice. You're enabling them to take without gratitude, to demand without respect, to expect without reciprocating. And let me tell you, no matter how much you give, it will never be enough. The more you give, the more they'll want. The more you bend, the more they'll push. It's a vicious cycle, and it stops only when you decide to break it. Now, I'm not saying you should stop being kind or generous. Those are beautiful traits, and the world needs more of them. But kindness and generosity without wisdom, that's a recipe for burnout. You've got to learn to say no. Not out of anger, not out of spite, but out of love for yourself. But be wise. Love deeply, but love yourself first. Because the world doesn't need you to be a doormat, it needs you to be a force. A force of strength, of courage, of self-respect. A force that says, I know my worth, and I won't settle for less. When you decide to stop being too nice, you might feel guilty at first. That's natural. Society has conditioned many of us to equate niceness with goodness, to believe that saying no is wrong, that putting ourselves first is selfish. But guilt is just a habit, and like any habit, it can be broken. You break it by reminding yourself of this simple truth: you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you give and give without replenishing yourself, eventually there will be nothing left to give. And then what? You'll be depleted, exhausted, resentful. That's no way to live. Think about all the energy you've spent over the years trying to keep the peace, trying to make everyone happy. Has it worked? Have your sacrifices been met with the gratitude and respect you deserve? Or have you found yourself feeling invisible, overlooked, and undervalued? The truth is, people who benefit from your niceness often take it for granted. They see your willingness to accommodate as a weakness, not a strength, and they'll keep taking until you decide to stop giving. In 2025, it's time to reclaim your energy. It's time to set boundaries that protect your time, your mental health, and your sense of self. Boundaries are not walls, they're bridges. They teach people how to treat you with respect, while still allowing meaningful connections to thrive. When you set a boundary, you're not pushing people away, you're inviting them to meet you at a place of mutual respect and understanding. And let me tell you something about respect. Respect doesn't come from being nice, it comes from being strong. It comes from knowing who you are and refusing to let anyone diminish your value. People respect those who respect themselves. They admire those who can stand their ground, who can say no without fear, who can prioritize their own well-being without apology. That's the kind of person you need to be in 2025. This year, I want you to practice saying no. Start small if you have to. Say no to something that doesn't align with your values, your goals, or your happiness. Say no to a request that feels more like a demand. Say no to someone who only shows up when they need something from you. And when you say it with confidence. You don't owe anyone an explanation or an apology for prioritizing yourself. It won't be easy. Change never is. But every time you say no, you're saying yes to yourself. You're saying yes to your time, your energy, your dreams. And that yes is powerful. It's a declaration that your life belongs to you, not to the expectations or demands of others. It's a reminder that you are not here to please everyone, you are here to fulfill your purpose. Fine, fulfilling your purpose requires focus. It requires energy. It requires boundaries. You cannot achieve greatness if you're constantly distracted by the demands of others. You cannot reach your full potential if you're always putting yourself last. In 2025, I want you to think about what matters most to you. What are your goals, your dreams, your values? And then I want you to make those your priority, not in theory, but in practice. Every decision you make, every action you take should align with the life you want to create. But here's the thing, when you stop being too nice, you might lose some people along the way. Not everyone will understand your journey. Not everyone will support your growth. Some people will try to guilt you into going back to your old ways. They'll say things like, you've changed, or you're not the person you used to be, and you know what? They're right. You have changed. You're no longer the person who puts everyone else's needs ahead of your own. You're no longer the person who sacrifices your happiness for the sake of others. You're no longer the person who lets fear or guilt dictate your decisions. And that's a good thing. Most growth requires change. And change requires courage. The courage to disappoint others, if it means staying true to yourself. Discomfort is temporary. It's the growing pains of stepping into a new version of yourself. And on the other side of that discomfort is freedom. The freedom to live a life that feels good to you, not just to everyone else. So, in 2025, I want you to embrace that discomfort. I want you to lean into the challenge of setting boundaries, of saying no, of putting yourself first. And every time you do, remind yourself that you're not just changing your life, you're changing the way the world sees you. You're teaching people how to treat you, how to respect you, how to value you. And that's a lesson that will serve you for the rest of your life. As you continue this journey, you'll begin to notice the shift, not just in how others treat you, but in how you treat yourself. You'll stop second-guessing your decisions. You'll stop feeling guilty from prioritizing your own needs. You'll stop bending over backward to accommodate people who wouldn't do the same for you. And in that space, you'll find clarity, you'll find peace, you'll find strength. Strength isn't about being loud or forceful. Strength is quiet. It's the calm assurance that comes from knowing who you are and what you stand for. It's the ability to walk away from situations and relationships that no longer serve you. It's the courage to say, I deserve better and mean it. That's the kind of strength I want you to embody in 2025. The kind of strength that doesn't waver, even when it's tested. The kind of strength that inspires others to rise to your level. When you stop being too nice, you start to reclaim your time. Time that you can invest in yourself, in your goals, in your passions. Think about what you could accomplish if you weren't constantly distracted by the demands of others. Think about the dreams you've put on hold, the skills you've neglected, the opportunities you've missed because you were too busy being everything to everyone. In 2025, it's time to prioritize those dreams, to dust off those goals and give them the attention they deserve. Life gets better the moment you stop loving yourself more than anyone else. Now, I'm not saying you don't love your family, friends, or partner, but if you're pouring into everyone else while your cup stays empty, how are you going to thrive? Let me tell you something, help you put yourself first and love yourself how you truly deserve. The way you carry yourself is the blueprint you hand to the world. Think about it, when you consistently put everyone else first, people start assuming that's what you're meant for. They stop seeing your needs as important because you've taught them to prioritize theirs over yours. Start today by breaking that pattern. Show people that you deserve the same respect in care you give so freely. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's necessary. When you allow people to overstep your limits, you're sending a message that your boundaries don't matter. But when you stand firm, you're teaching them that your time, energy, and well-being are not up for negotiation. You're laying down the rules for how you expect to be treated. Loving yourself means recognizing that you can't pour into others if your cup is empty. Take a moment to ask yourself, am I treating myself with the love and respect I want from others? If the answer is no, then it's time to make a change. Start showing up for yourself the way you show up for everyone else. People watch how you treat yourself. If you constantly put yourself down, neglect your needs, or let others walk all over you, they'll think it's okay to do the same. But when you show self-respect, you inspire respect in return. That's how you create relationships that uplift instead of drain you. Changing how others treat you starts with changing how you treat yourself. Take yourself seriously and others will follow suit. It's not about being arrogant. It's about valuing yourself enough to demand that. It's about recognizing that your kindness and love on weaknesses, there's traits, and they deserve to be reciprocated. Remember, it's not the words you say, but the actions you take can teach people how to treat you. Start showing up for yourself with love and respect. When you do that, you'll attract people who see your value and match your energy. The right people will adjust, and the wrong ones will fall away. Just be clear about something. Your worth is not a topic for discussion, but it's not tied to your bank account, your relationship status, or anyone else's opinion of you. Too many people walk through life seeking validation from others when the truth is you were born worthy. No one can take that away from you. Stop putting your value in the hands of people who don't appreciate you. If someone can't see your greatness, that's their loss, not yours. The right people will see your light without you having to dim it. You don't need to beg for attention or prove your worth to anyone who doesn't recognize it. Your worth is inherent. It's built into your DNA. It's the way you rise after a setback, the kindness you show even when it's hard, and the dreams you chase despite the odds. Stop letting temporary circumstances define your permanent value. You are far more than your worst day or your biggest mistake. Comparison is another trap that chips away at your self-worth. It's easy to look at someone else's life and think they have it all together. But their journey isn't yours. You don't know the battles they've fought or the pain they've endured. Focus on your path because it's uniquely designed for you. Start affirming your value to yourself every single day. Look in the mirror and remind yourself, I am enough. I am worthy. I deserve love and success. Speak it until you believe it because your mind will catch up with your words. Your worth isn't up for debate, it's a fact. Once you understand your worth, you'll stop settling for less. You'll walk away from situations and people who don't align with your values. You'll start building a life that reflects your belief in yourself, and that's when you'll truly thrive. How can you love someone you don't even know? Think about it. We spend so much time getting to know other people, our friends, our partners, even our co-workers, but we rarely take the time to understand ourselves. Who are you? What do you stand for? What makes you happy? These are questions only you could answer. Self-awareness is the foundation of self-love. When you take the time to understand your likes, dislikes, and passions, you're building a relationship with yourself. It's about exploring your strengths.